Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
The spread of the Delta variant.
Seeing hotspots pop up across the country.
Implementing an order requiring masking indoors, regardless of vaccination.
The bottom line from Delta is get vaccinated.
Misinformation has caused people to reject the public health measures.
There's reasonable mistrust of the government.
We're going to get the full package.
Budget-busting socialist package.
Start voting next Wednesday.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views for a Friday. A lot to talk about, as always. Interesting story in the News and Observer concerning North Carolina Republicans wanting to verify that we're having legal elections here in the state of North Carolina. And they're getting some pushback. Leading the cause, once again, as he has done in so many other issues, is Eastern North Carolina's own Representative Keith Kidwell. He's a Beaufort County Republican. He also is the head of the Freedom Caucus in the North Carolina House of Representatives. He is not making accusations that there was any kind of fraud going on, but he does make the point that a number of constituents across the state of North Carolina, not only his constituents, but a number of other Republican constituents are saying, we want the assurance that we're going to have honest and fair elections. And so they want to do an audit. Particularly, they want to look at the voting machines to make sure that they are doing what the State Board of Elections says they are doing. That is, that they're not connected to the internet. Keith Kidwell is on the phone with us right now. Keith, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Tom, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Appreciate the work you're doing up in the State House. And let's talk in particular today about this situation with the State Board of Elections and the fact that you're getting some pushback from the head of the State Board of Elections, Karen Brinson Bell. They're saying that, let me quote you. You say Mrs. Brinson Bell has decided to put up a wall, and we're going to go through that wall. What exactly are you looking for, and why is Ms. Bell not cooperating?
Tom, it's interesting because we were getting all the cooperation we could ask for from the Board of Elections, and it seems like once Ms. Brinson Bell got involved, she put this wall up saying that these machines are federally protected, they're certified, they're this, that, and nobody's allowed to have access. So I actually worked with the vendor to find out what we can do to actually look into these machines, because they're eager to see this put behind them. I'm sure that, they sell machines nationwide, and they don't want any accusations out there that are false, and I'm sure it doesn't help their business any. So what I'm trying to do is, if there is no modem, let us look just to verify to the public that there's none there. And we can move on. And for some reason, she's decided that's not a great way to do things. I think transparency in elections is all we're seeking. I'm not making an accusation. I'm not expecting to go find a modem. But I think that I've had enough complaints, and matter of fact, every member of the General Assembly gets emails literally daily asking us to investigate the election process. So when we look into it to verify there's no modems, the manufacturer showed us the machines. We were very satisfied there. They were eager to give us the information. And then they said, well, what we'll do is we'll recertify any machine that we look at. Well, immediately I got pushback, not through any letters, but from the people talking with us. Well, we don't know if we can do that. And I said, well, there's other ways we can do it. So what we were actually working on is talking again with the vendor. And they said, well, here's what we'll do. We'll send the service technician in with you. He'll ride wherever precinct you end up at. Go in. They'll open the machine. So this is the technician that goes out and fixes the machines when they're broken.
Right.
Okay? And they'll open the machines. We won't actually touch them. We'll ask them to move whatever parts we want moved. They'll put the machine back together just like they did if a board broke or the printer stopped working or whatever, and put the machine back together. And that way we don't have a problem. We haven't touched it. All we've done is laid eyes on it. I'm pretty sure none of us have, X-ray vision that we can damage the machine with our eyes. And that would solve her concern. But that doesn't seem to work either.
I remember back a few months ago when we were going through all the, postscript of the general election from last November. I can't remember if it was North Carolina or some other state in which they said, oh, these machines can't be connected to the internet. But then we find out later, but if you flip this switch and adjust this, it can be. Is that part of the controversy here?
So, no, actually, Tom, the old machines in North Carolina, the ES&S machines back in 2006, everybody thought at that time, this was before all the internet security breaches and things of this nature, that we would be going to modems in these machines. So the North Carolina, we did have machines at that time. Matter of fact, Beaufort County was still using those machines, but they've just sent those back to the vendor. They're buying the newer ones without the modems, but those modems were deactivated. We knew that. We didn't have an issue with it because this was before the days of Wi-Fi modems and all this. So they were just inert modems, and that's fine. We understand that's the way they were manufactured. The machines in North Carolina now are not allowed to have a modem in them, period, when you buy a new piece of equipment, okay? There's very few counties that were still using the older ES&S 100s, okay? The ES&S 200s are the new model that everybody's going to. They do make a model for other states with a modem. Now, we opened them up. We looked at them. The modem is there. It's crystal clear. We opened up the machine that they actually was one that was taken offline in North Carolina that had been turned back into the company, and we opened that machine, and there's no modem. There's a very clear difference when there is and when there's not. We also inspected the boards to look deeper to see if there were modem chips, modem capabilities. They're not there, okay? Matter of fact, the memory stick that they use to extract the data is a proprietary stick that is made by, it's not something you get at Office Depot or Best Buy or buy off Amazon. It is a very specific stick that must match to the machine just to extract the data. You put in an Office Depot stick, they don't work, okay? If you try and change a memory card in the machine, they're actually matched electronically with passwords that if the memory card doesn't match the machine, it will not run. So they've got it very well protected at that level. They're using a software language that's not Windows, it's not DOS, it's not something you and I would use, and I'm familiar with this because in my business, we used a tax language called Tassel. And if you don't know how to write in that language, you couldn't do anything to it. So they've done a good job at the manufacturer's level of protecting it. And what we're seeking to do, real simple, Tom, the people are concerned.
Right. If
the people say, can you prove to us there's no modems? Why can't we walk in, open a machine, and look at it and see there's no modem?
Well, it doesn't pass the smell test.
And that's what my former FBI agent Ed Goodwin said. He said, look, I've worked in the FBI. When somebody sits there and starts resisting, they must be hiding something. He's an FBI guy, so, that's his words, not mine.
No, well, I agree with him. And have you done any investigation to indeed find out whether it's against some federal law for you to come in and look at these machines? That just doesn't doesn't pass the smell test.
Well, she's saying it's against state and federal law, so we are going to check on the federal aspect of it. But there are other ways to deal with this, Tom. So, we're looking at the possibility of putting money in the budget specifically to allow us to replace machines when we go in and open the machine. So we go in, we take the machine, we open it up, we look at it, I'll take a welding torch to it at that point if I want to. And we'll give them a brand new machine to replace the ones we inspect.
Well, the other aspect of this is her response, which I think thou protestest too much, Ms. Bell. She said, we will not allow misinformation about our voting systems or any other aspect of elections to dictate our priorities in administering elections. We do not intend to partake in nor perpetuate myths and falsehoods about voting systems or elections. And the inference is that, here we go again with all these lies being spread by Republicans across the nation, led by Donald Trump. And I think thou protestest too much, Ms. Bell. If there's no there, then let Keith Kidwell and other officials come in and verify it.
And that's all we're asking, Tom. And it's real simple. This is about proving to the people what they're paying us to do. The General Assembly does have oversight. The bad news for Ms. Bell is I'm the guy that does my due diligence. I do my homework. And to this point, I can tell you I haven't looked at the federal aspect of it yet because I'm still working on her letter. But here's what I can tell you at the state level. State General Statute 120-19 is very clear. It says that if any member of the General Assembly asks any member that is an employee of the state of North Carolina for any information or data that they have or can access, that they, and this is the key word, it is mandatory that they provide that information even if it's to an individual member of the General Assembly, and that's who each of the 25-plus members of the Freedom Caucus are. Every one of us are members of the General Assembly. So, Ms. Bell, you're going to lose. I'm going to figure out a way to get access to those machines, okay? And we're going to continue to look into it, not because we think there's a problem, but because I think the people of this state deserve to have their General Assembly prove to them that their vote counts.
Bingo.
And that's what matters.
Do you have Republican leadership in the House and the Senate behind you on this?
Leadership is on my side. They're working with us on the budget. We're going to look at what we can do from a budgetary position. We're going to look at what we need to do with election laws to make sure that this is absolutely clear that the General Assembly does and will always have the oversight that's necessary. And, I'm going to paraphrase the Borg from Star Trek. Resistance is futile. Yeah. You will comply.
Well, and I have said, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times on this program, I think we will prevail. I think Republicans will prevail in 2022 if we have fair and honest elections. And so for that, I thank you, Representative Kidwell, for what you're doing. Please keep it up.
Thank you,
don't
Tom.
give in.
Appreciate it. No,
right.
I don't. You know me. I don't quit.
I do know you, and I fully expect to see this thing come to a resolution. Keith Kidwell calling it. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate all you do.
Appreciate it, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We've got to take a time out. When we come back, there is another story in the Carolina Journal. Jeff Moore, our friend over at First and Freedom Daily, has written a great piece on a COVID vaccination card, which is already in existence in the state of North Carolina. Yes, there is one. We'll talk about that when we get back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit TopDogOnline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
Inflation is here.
Incredibly rampant and reckless spending.
The president slapped another $2 trillion on the country's credit card. They want to spend yet another $4 trillion.
Price increases
in grocery stores.
This is happening right now.
Manufacturing.
And what happens next?
Everybody's experiencing inflation.
Will happen here.
Bottom line here, unprecedented in recent memory.
This story and more.
Pay very close attention.
The future. What's it going to look like? For what's next, travel with us on Talk 96.3 and 103.7 with Tom Lamprecht.
Welcome back in. News and views for a Friday. Taking a look at your weather forecast for the weekend. A chance of showers tonight, just a slight chance, a little around 75. Tomorrow, more of the same. Chance of afternoon showers, about 40%, a high near 92. And again, the same for tomorrow night with a low around 74 and pretty much a carbon copy on Sunday. Weather brought to you by our friends at University PC Care. They've been Eastern North Carolina's go-to IT experts for quite a while now. Unfortunately, most organizations simply react to IT issues after the damage is done. This is known as the break-fix cycle in the tech services industry. Quick example. You show up to work, you find your computer down, you submit a repair ticket, a tech shows up, tries to remote it in, all the while you're down, losing productivity, maybe even losing files. University PC Care's Business Services Division has a better way, a proactive way called BizCare. BizCare tech support and cybersecurity plans are always on duty, staying ahead of potential problems, keeping you up and running with less downtime. And it's much safer with threats like ransomware. Call William at 394-8572 to schedule a free BizCare consultation or go to University PC Care to learn more. Jeff Moore, who is the editor-in-chief of First and Freedom Daily, which is a great website covering many issues in the state of North Carolina, has written a piece which appeared in the Carolina Journal today. Bottom line is, most of our listeners, in fact, this was news to me, but Governor Cooper has created a North Carolina state-certified COVID-19 vaccination card. Cooper said earlier this year that his administration was exploring the development of such a passport for residents. Quote, "We want to be able to help people to show others that they have gotten the vaccine because a lot of people are going to want that," the governor said. Days later, back in early April, New York launched its first-in-the-nation vaccine passport, Excelsior Pass. California likewise launched a digital vaccine passport in June. The debate surrounding vaccine passports is a sensitive one. The split, as you can imagine, is along partisan lines, Republican, Democrat. In May, 6 Republican members of North Carolina's congressional delegation sent a letter to the governor calling on Cooper to reject the creation of a vaccine passport, saying such a requirement would be a violation of people's constitutional rights. Fast forward a few months, residents and visitors to New York and California are pressured to show their vaccine passports to participate in certain activities, including going to a restaurant. In North Carolina, the Cooper administration quietly launched its very own state-certified vaccine, quote, information card. What exactly could this mean? Both vaccinated and non-vaccinated people going forward, what will it mean to you? The North Carolina vaccine passport isn't mandatory. Neither of those are in New York or California, but they have them. So why would you have it if it's not mandatory? Now, again, the idea is, well, there are certain non-governmental functions. For example, there are certain businesses that are now saying, okay, if you're going to come work at this business, we've been doing work remotely, but if you're going to come back to work, we want to make sure you're vaccinated. So you get this vaccination passport or verification card. Here's the interesting thing, and you have certain questions that are asked. Why do I need it? There's a frequently asked question section on the internet where you can go to find out about this state certified vaccine information card, which if you Google it, you can find it. But, and by the way, certain private universities, it's not required at state universities, but certain private universities such as Elon and Duke are requiring students before they come back to school to have gotten the vaccination. John Saunders from Carolina Journal, he has a few questions that aren't on the frequently asked question section of the website. First of all, he says, I think it's an absolute joke that they're trying to make people feel comfortable that the information is private after establishing that it's pretty much anybody's business. Furthermore, and he's asked this, I've asked this over and over and over again. Furthermore, I would absolutely love for someone to ask why there is no interest and no way to provide a qualified, valid proof of natural immunity from prior infection, regardless of whether or not it was officially diagnosed. When it comes to the previously infected, there is no state-certified tools that exist to prove what the National Institutes of Health described as durable long-term immune protection from COVID. In other words, you might have the antibodies. You've had COVID, and so therefore you're immune just as if you'd have the vaccination. Many doctors and scientists are saying your immunity, if you've had COVID, is more durable and stronger than getting the vaccination. Why is that not included? I mean, we're all about the data and science, right, Gov? Why is that not included? I mean, you can go get an antibodies test, find out if you got the immunity, and if you do, why shouldn't you get a get-out-of-jail-free card? According to North Carolina's COVID dashboard, well more than half of North Carolinians 12 and older have received both vaccination doses. This includes nearly 85% of North Carolinians 65 and older. But despite the introduction of a cash lottery to incentivize more people to get vaccinated, rates in North Carolina have basically plateaued in recent weeks. So in other words, the governor is giving away millions of dollars to go get vaccinated, and guess what? Those that don't want the vaccination could care less about the 1 in a million shot of them winning the $1 million. They ain't going there. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the president's chief medical advisor, has voiced unequivocal support for local vaccination mandates. He has pressed Biden. That has been communicated through Jen Psaki, saying that the president is in agreement with Fauci. Now, here's the point of all this. Is this the first step? Is this the first step in a vaccination mandate? Several stories in national media today that are beginning to stir the pot concerning a national mandate to get vaccinated. I can tell you, there are people out there, you can mandate all you want. They're not going to do it. It will end up in court. And yes, there was a Supreme Court case back in, I think it was back in 1906, dealing with smallpox. And the Supreme Court back then did uphold, it was a state mandate But the Supreme Court of the United States did uphold that mandate. I don't know that that would happen again. And again, at least they ought to include those people who have immunity from being previously infected. Why? Why, Governor, won't you include that? What, I mean, at least have, a checkbox, one for being vaccinated, one for having immunities. Why won't you go there, Gov? By the way, the World Health Organization, remember, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, the week's gone by so quickly, we had the story of Jen Psaki getting up and at the White House briefing talking about how they are now going to help Facebook come out and censor certain posts that they think are unreliable related to COVID. World Health Organization Director General Tedros declared yesterday that ruling out the lab leak theory for the origin of the Wuhan virus was premature after those who questioned the possibility of COVID being lab-created were mocked, fact-checked, and dismissed for months, including by the World Health Organization and Tedros. Yesterday, he came out and said, I was a lab technician myself, and I have worked in the lab, and lab accidents happen, Tedros said, saying that not only do they happen, they're common. The comments from the director are a clear contradiction to a March 2021 report from the World Health Organization. That report, on which China was a dubious partner, stated a lab leak was extremely unlikely and instead concluded that the most probable origin was a natural jump from animals to humans. And since then, a number of scientists have come back and said, no, and especially not from the bat. You don't make a leap like that. So Tedros has now come out and done an about-face. Again, just a few months ago, he was dogmatic that this was not a lab leak. Yesterday comes, oh, yeah, that's pretty common. Yeah, it probably happened. And yet, people of his ilk are the ones that are going to get up and tell us what to say, what to post, what to think, what you're allowed to read. This is unbelievable. Mark Zuckerberg, back earlier this year, emailed Fauci offering a partnership to promote and police information about the virus. Yes, we little people, we little peons have no right to think, have no right to an opinion, have no right to observe the obvious and comment on it. We're told what to think, what to do, where to go, when to get up, when to go to bed, when to eat, what to eat, where to go for medical vaccinations, when to get the vaccinations. Again, I mean, this is old news, but in past, when we have people get severely sick and die from a flu vaccination, it would only take a couple of dozen deaths to immediately pull that vaccination off the market. There have been over 4,000 deaths from this vaccination. And yet, we continue to have people push it. The side effects when children are vaccinated, enlarged hearts, and yet there's a push for children to be vaccinated. But we're not allowed to think. We're not allowed to have an opinion. We're going to take another time out. When we get back, a rally up in Fairfax, Virginia against CRT causes another rally for CRT, and the comments from a PTA president are dangerous, bizarre, and we'll play them for you when we get back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing is LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
And a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and FullServiceFlooring.com.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's got to be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
No need to search for the facts.
The fact is, hold on. Let's see, they gave me...
Just take note.
Okay, it's 1 pound of ground beef, 1 egg. What is this? That's a recipe for meatloaf someone gave me. That's not...
And check in throughout the day. Here.
Look. No, seriously. Look around. Did anybody see a piece of paper with my notes on it?
For what's next, travel with us on Talk 96.3 and 103.7 with Tom Lamprecht.
I got to give kudos to Clark Willis, who puts together those bumpers. I laughed out loud at that one. The Daily Wire is reporting parents in Fairfax County, Virginia, gathered outside Thursday night. There was a school board meeting going on inside. And they were having a rally, Build Stop Critical Race Theory rally. The flyer said, while they deny it's being taught, the NEA doubles down. It's not about race equity. It's about a communist radical takeover of America. Pretty well said. As parents concerned about the politicization and standard lowering in schools, as they gathered, a top PTA and a same person, NAACP official, Michelle Leet, led a counter-protest. Only had a couple of dozen people at the counter-protest, but nonetheless, she had a counter-protest in which she ended a tirade about parents who opposed critical race theory. Cut 1.
And remain steadfast in speaking truth, tearing down double standards, and refuting double talk. Let's not allow any double downing on lies. Let's prepare our children for a world they deserve. Let's deny this off-key band of people that are anti-education, anti-teacher, anti-equity, anti-history, anti-racial reckoning, anti-opportunities, anti-help people, anti-diversity, anti-platform, anti-science, anti-change agent, anti-social justice, anti-healthcare, anti-worker,
Okay, if you didn't get all that, first of all, Michelle Leet is Vice President of Training at the Virginia State PTA. She's Vice President of Communications for the Fairfax County PTA. She's also the first Vice President of the Fairfax County NAACP, and she's also a federal employee. That's more than a hat trick. The counter-protesters listening to Lee's speech on Thursday, if you look at the crowd, and there's video of this, if you look at the crowd, she's the only black person there. And yet, these white liberals break into cheers and applause to her line, "Let them die." Yeah. She said, let's deny this off-key band of people that are anti-education, anti-teacher, anti-equity, anti-history, anti-racial reckoning, anti-opportunities, anti-help people, anti-diversity, anti-platform, anti-science, anti-change agent, anti-social justice, anti-healthcare, anti-worker, anti-LGBTQ+, anti-children, anti-healthcare, she said that twice, anti-worker, anti-environment, anti-admission policy change, anti-inclusion, anti-let live and let live. Let them die. First of all, this is another example of how the progressives use critical theory. I mean, this fits right into the critical theory that they want to promote, that they want to teach in school. The opposed, or the oppressed, I should say, and the oppressors. Those people that are against critical race theory, no, we're not for a culture that says one race is superior to another race. One is inferior, one is superior. We do not believe that. Critical race theory teaches that. You are teaching that, yes, basically you are teaching anti-Martin Luther King doctrine. We don't believe that one race is superior to another race. And those people you say are anti, no, they're not anti-education. They're not anti-history, anti-racial reckoning, anti-opportunities, anti-helping people, et cetera, et cetera. We are anti your version of those things. We are anti your version of history, your version of science, your version of education, your version of social justice. The idea is if you don't agree exactly with our ideology, oh, then you're an anti-person. One in attendance, Asra Naomi, whose son just graduated from Fairfax County Public Schools, said, I listened stunned as Michelle Leet put a target on the backs of parents just because they have a different point of view. What we heard tonight was hate speech, pure and simple. It was shocking that anyone would cheer and applaud a call to violence. And by the way, these are the same people that would accuse Donald Trump at any one of his rallies as calling for a violent overthrow to those that oppose him, which he never, ever said at any of his rallies. He never said it on January the 6th. What we heard tonight was a hate speech, pure and simple. It was shocking that anyone would cheer and applaud a call to violence. Ironically, her hateful, intolerant words were a perfect illustration of the divisive ideology of critical race theory in action. Bingo! In the name of tolerance, it preaches intolerance and is a portrayal of all values of humanity and decency. To the point is, if you're anti and you disagree with our ideology, you need to die. And they don't even... Why is this not a headline in the Washington Post? Fairfax, Virginia, right outside of D.C. Why is this not a headline? I guarantee you, if this was a Republican that had said this against liberals, it would be a headline in the Washington Post. PTA president calls for the death of those that oppose their viewpoint. If the remarks implied a wish for death to parents who have a different opinion than hers, it would appear to apply to a majority of parents, so says the Daily Wire. A June poll by Public Opinion Strategies found that nearly 3/4 of Fairfax and neighboring Loudoun County oppose eliminating advanced math courses and significantly more voters opposed critical race theory than supported it. Fairfax recently abolished the test used to gain admission into the Thomas Jefferson School for Science and Technology, a top-ranked math school in the country. After activists complained there were too many Asians and not enough blacks, ooh, isn't that racist? Too many Asians? The shift from merit to a merit lottery resulted in a large decrease in the number of Asians and an increase in the number of whites in the school. So you don't have to qualify to get in this top-notch school. By the way, it will only be a matter of time before this top-notch math and science school is no longer top-notch. But I guess in the eyes of Michelle Leet, the parents that opposed eliminating advanced math courses and parents that wanted to keep the high standards for the Thomas Jefferson School of Science and Technology, those people that wanted that, I guess she would call those parents anti-education. And if you want to lower the standards to gain admittance into a school of science, are you now anti-science? She'd say you are. Again, only if you're anti their ideology. Harry Jackson, a black man who was the president-elect of the Thomas Jefferson School for Science and Technology, told the Daily Wire, he was the PTA president at that school, he said, "I was in shock looking at the crowd, watching Ms. Leet pander to white liberals with her hateful rhetoric. Her call to violence against every kind of parent, including parents who oppose changes to admission policies at the school like Thomas Jefferson, also reveal that she has a serious conflict of interest." You know, it's interesting. The News and Observer ran a story today talking about basically trying to cause a wedge up in the State House as they discuss critical race theory. The article basically talked about the fact, well, gee, there's no blacks that are opposed to critical race theory. Really trying to make it a black-white issue, that all blacks are for critical race theory and conservative whites are all against it. Again, Harry Jackson, a black man up there who's the PTA president for the School of Technology, he is saying, why are you pandering to a bunch of white liberals? And listen, African Americans, black Americans, don't you allow them to use you as pawns. Just like Harry Jackson, speak up and speak out against it. It's interesting. The News and Observer says, well, there are no black Republicans in the House or the Senate. Well, wait a minute. Mark Robinson is the president of the Senate. As lieutenant governor, he's the president of the Senate. And he is the most vocal, outspoken person against critical race theory in our schools. We've got to take another time out. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Got a trade? Now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Never in history has your trade been worth more. Get paid today. Then get a new Toyota hot off the delivery truck. Hurry before they're gone. Like Camrys, $189 a month. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Anything could happen ever since I met you. Let me take you dancing.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Biden's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit bidenthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
This one's for everyone who spends the amount of time it would take to watch a movie, agreeing on which movie to watch. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Toyota shoppers, now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Shipments of factory fresh Toyotas are arriving daily and being sold almost immediately, like Corollas for $159 a month. Get yours before they're gone. Now's the time.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. 8 minutes before the top of the hour. The Washington Free Beacon is reporting the city of Philadelphia, back in 2016, bought a new fleet of Portera buses. Now, Portera is a company that manufactures electric buses. When they bought these buses, which, by the way, were approximately $1 million apiece, they bought a fleet of 24 buses for $25 million. Yeah, $1 million a bus. That was a real equitable buy, right? And by the way, the recent nominated and confirmed Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm just happened to be on the board of directors of the Portera bus service, from which Philadelphia bought these buses. Just a little bit of a problem, though. Right now, there are no buses being run that are electric that they purchased from Portera. Why? Well, several reasons. One, the batteries in these buses are so heavy that they are cracking and collapsing the chassis. I'm not kidding. Two, the buses, which Portera claimed would get several hundred miles per run, are getting between 30 and 50 miles per run. That's it. Now, 30 to 50 miles ain't much. In fact, the city of Philadelphia at one point tried to install recharging stations at the end of each route. So, yeah, I mean, basically, a gas or a diesel bus, you'd fill it up, you'd do the route, at the end of the day, you'd fill it back up again. These people go from one end. In some cases, they couldn't make it to the other end of the route. Another reason they're not running, if you've ever been to Philadelphia, it is not like flat eastern North Carolina. There are a lot of hills up there. They had to make sure these Portera buses were not assigned to routes that were hilly because they couldn't make it up the hill. Interestingly, this Portera bus company has not returned phone calls questioning why their chassis are breaking down. Yeah. I don't know that the electric buses would make that sound. They would probably just go dead quiet because they're not moving. But same idea. They're not making it. By the way, that is just not the only town that their buses are hitting the dust. Up in Duluth, Minnesota, they waited for 3 years for their Portera buses to be delivered. Ultimately, they have pulled 7 buses from service because their braking systems were struggling on the Duluth hills. once again, the ideology of liberals, they live in this fantasy world that everything is going to be wonderful and perfect if you only embrace what they want, if you only embrace their ideology. They never think through the issues, and they never actually work to make sure that their products work. It doesn't matter whether they work or not because their goals are so noble. They're so wonderful that we ought to admire them, regardless of the fact it doesn't matter where their buses collapse and the people of Philadelphia wasted $25 million. That doesn't matter because their goals were so noble. Their objectives were so noble that we ought to applaud them regardless. Well, we ain't going to applaud them. And, this is now the person who is the energy secretary. She ought to be held accountable. They ought to be sued by the city of Philadelphia for a waste of money. I know it was back in 2016, but, most buses last a whole lot longer than 5 years. And the idea that they're only getting 35 miles out of them, unbelievable. Hey, listen, have a great weekend, and we'll do it again Monday at 5 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's got to be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made